Are you still getting stuck on Portuguese pronunciation when words look really similar? Let's take these two words for example. Esta and está. Can you say these both correctly? They mean completely different things, but if you don't know the rules for stress in Portuguese, you might end up getting them confused. In today's video, I'm going to show you the #1 trick that you need to make your Portuguese pronunciation perfect every time. My name is Liz and I help people relocating or retiring to Portugal to get confident and conversational in Portuguese with my program for beginners, Portuguese Pro. And pronunciation is quite literally my favorite thing to work on with my students. We do it every week in a live session. You can visit the description for more information about how to apply to join us and have your pronunciation checked live by myself and my team. So let's take a look at these two words then and learn the trick to make sure that we are getting the stress right every single time. So the rule that we need to remember is that when there are no accents on a word, the stress is going to fall on the penultimate syllable. So what do we have to do? We need to take a word like this and split it into 2 syllables, and the penultimate one is going to be the ES in this case. So that's why we're going to pronounce this one as esta. However, when we look at the word está, the stress is going to be different because it does have an accent. So when a word has an accent, that is where the stress needs to go. In the case of this word, está, it's on the A, and that's why we say it like that. The other thing I don't want you to forget in this word is pronouncing the sh in está. I do have a free pronunciation guide that you can download in the description that will take you through this and many other sounds. So let's take a look at some more examples. What about these two words, porque and porque? These both mean why, but one would be in a full sentence. For example, porque é que gostas desta comida, for example. And the other one, porque, is going to sit by itself. Gostas disso? Porque? So, I've got the same rule that I need to apply. This one that has an accent, it has it on the E, so that's where I have to put the stress. But in the other one, because there is no accent there, I'm going to split it into the syllables, porque, and I'm going to put the stress on the penultimate syllable, which in this case is the por. Another two words that look very similar but are pronounced differently, specifically because of this rule, país and país. Now, here on this word, this means country and it has the accent on the I, so I have to look out for that and make sure I put the stress there. País. But in the other word, we don't have that. The A and the I are actually going to work together here to make a vowel pair or a diphthong as it's actually called. It's going to make an I sound. But just like with all of the other words that I've gone through, because we're going to split this into syllables and the penultimate syllable is going to be at the beginning of the word, that's where the stress needs to go. País. Another pair of words that gets people confused is avó and avó, okay? These mean grandmother and grandfather, but they are so similar when they are written down. The tricky thing here is that they both have accents. So yes, the stress does have to go on the O in both cases, but the type of accent is different. So the type of O that we are going to make is going to be different. So the one that has the upward accent like this is going to be the open O, avó. Okay, and the one that has the little hat on it is actually going to tell us to close down the O. It's not going to be an open O, it's going to be a closed O, okay, avó. So that's the difference. If you find it difficult to remember which one is which, then granddad wears the hat and grandma wears the hairpin. That's always helped me remember. This is also going to come into play when we have a noun and a verb that are coming from the same stem. So if we were to talk about pronunciation, for example, that would be a pronuncia. Again, you know why I put the stress on the O, it's because that's where the accent was. But when we turn this into a verb, to pronounce, and I ask a question such as, como se pronuncia? you can see that I now put the stress on the penultimate syllable instead. So hopefully this is becoming very clear to you now with all of these examples. Words that are very similar can often be pronounced completely differently. So Portuguese pronunciation is a lot more tricky than just saying what you see, but I have got tons of videos on this very channel if you want to learn more about all the different sounds in Portuguese and how to pronounce them like a local. I go into this in a lot more detail in my free lesson for beginners, so if you enjoyed this quickfire lesson and want more, I would love to see you there. The link to register is in the description, and I guarantee you'll leave the session feeling way more confident in practical Portuguese. I'll be back next week with more tips and tutorials to build your confidence and conversation skills in Portuguese, so I will look forward to seeing you then.